Well, this is it, guys. I have never done Facebook Live video before, but I have a show tomorrow, and I need to do some last-minute rehearsing, so I thought I would bring you along in the rehearsal process. So again, this is my first ever Facebook Live video. And I'm just gonna go through my set list here. Got my notes from the previous show. I'm gonna try to stick to the same format. And it starts with a 3 handpan piece. So as you join, you'll get to hear that. This is a Syrah Equinox. This is a Syrah Oxalista, and this is a pan art hung. And this piece is called Lost and Found. That's the working title for now. As you can see, I'm using camping chairs for handpan stands. They're really cheap. And they do the job well. Alright, so this is the rehearsing session that starts, and the first piece here is a 3 handpan piece. I'll make sure I place those properly. And well, welcome to my first Facebook Live video. Anyone joining in, I am rehearsing for my show tomorrow, and I'm running out of space here on the left. So I'm just gonna move my pan art hung a little bit. That is a good thing about rehearsing, so that I don't have to stop in the middle of the show tomorrow. And this first piece on the set is a 3 handpan piece with actually 2 Syrah handpans and a pan art hung. And this piece is actually kind of a workout, moving between all 3 handpans. So it does require being well positioned from the beginning. Okay, should be good. If you guys have tried playing handpans with more than one instrument, it doesn't come very naturally. I mean, the design of the handpan is to be put on your lap. It's a very intentional design. It's a beautiful design. I think Pan Art really did a phenomenal job. And so playing with multiple instruments, as you can see, you have to kind of tilt them and make sure that you can access the notes okay. So anyways, here we go. Okay, so that's the first part of the 3 handpan piece. Got to figure out the tempo to get to this part here. So back to that first phase. Try to build some tension and then to resolve it. more mellow. It's going to go into chords. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to try to go through it one more time, just without the breaks now that I'm well positioned. If you are joining now, you're in my living room. I'm just rehearsing on my handpans. I've got 4 handpans, one more down here. I'm just preparing for my show tomorrow, and I thought I would invite you along. So this first piece is on 3 handpans, and this is the one that I don't always play, and so it's good to kind of refresh, to brush up on it, and to get a refresher. So it is, the working title for this piece is Lost and Found. If you have another idea for this song, if you have another name idea, let me know. So here it is. Okay, that was the first song. I think I'm good with this one. I think this is one of the most, it's one of the more challenging ones because I use 3 handpands, and so I feel a little bit better now that I'm rehearsed. So if you are just joining in, this is my first ever Facebook Live. I have pretty much no idea what I'm doing. But this is Friday afternoon, and I am rehearsing for a gig tomorrow. And so I thought, as I'm rehearsing, I might as well invite you into my living room. So welcome, and have you listen if you're not doing anything else, I guess. So I just went through the first song, which is always, you know, whenever you get back into your craft, whether you're drawing, painting, baking, playing music, writing software, basically it takes a little bit to get back into it, right? And the first song that I was rehearsing, ironically, is probably one of the more challenging technically songs that I play at gigs, and it was a 3 handpan piece. Now we can move on to easier pieces. I'm gonna play I'm gonna rehearse this this track called Oxalista Fa. That's the name, kind of the weird name of this scale that was custom built by Sylvain handpans. I'm terrible at naming songs, as you will hear throughout this Facebook Live video. And if you've listened to my album or purchased my album, thank you. You will find on the back that all the songs are kind of random. So anyways, this is Oxalista Fa, and kind of fun story. One of my previous colleagues is having me play this song for her wedding, as the bridesmaids will walk down the aisle, and then there's a different song for her walking down the aisle. So it has that pretty kind of feel to it. So happy to rehearse that and to invite you in. So this is Oxalista Fa. one feels so good. Such a happy tune. If you are just joining, welcome to my living room. My cat is laying down right there. You can't see her, but this is just us and the cat. I am rehearsing. I have a gig tomorrow afternoon. If you're in Phoenix, if you live in the United States in the Phoenix metro area, I've got a handpan performance at the Queen Creek Public Library from 2 to 3 p.m. It is like 115 degrees out there Fahrenheit, probably 48 Celsius for the rest of the world. So if you're looking for something to do on a Saturday afternoon that doesn't include roasting outside, come join at the Queen Creek Library from 2 to 3 and come listen to soothing handpan music. I will be there. And I'm doing this first ever Facebook Live. I have no idea what I'm doing. I literally cannot even see my phone's screen, so I don't know if people are commenting. If you are, cool, thanks. But I am rehearsing for tomorrow, and so I'm just going through a couple of songs that I will play tomorrow. And I'm very, very, very lucky to have 4 different handpans. I've got a Hong, an original Hong from Switzerland, built in 2002, 2003. Then I've got a Syrah from 2013 or 2014. Let's see, there's no date on this one. In the Equinox scale. Another Syrah in C major, A minor, and then a C sharp Celtic minor. If that doesn't mean anything to you, it just sounds Celtic. This one sounds Oriental. This one sounds introspective, reflective, just kind of cool. And actually, next on the set list, I am going. Here, I'm using my my previous set list to figure out what I'm going to play tomorrow. And so this next piece is called Equinox. I mentioned this a moment ago, but if you weren't watching then, you may have missed it. I am terrible at naming tracks. Literally, each instrument has a track named after the scale of the instrument. That is so unoriginal. That is not creative. I like to think that I'm creative, but when it comes to words, I could use some help. So as you listen to this, and if you like it, and if you think of a term, a theme, kind of a mental picture that would fit with the song, write it in the comments. The AC just stopped, so if you've been hearing a hum for the past 20 minutes, that was the AC. And so here's Equinox. that was Equinox. This one feels pretty good. I play it often. I composed this back in 2014, so it's been 4 years playing it. And I actually typically transition from this directly without stopping into a track, the last track of my latest album, Carousel, called Bedtime Jam. I won't rehearse this one because it's more of an improv, and it's I like at gigs having at least one piece where it's a little bit more spontaneous, it's less rehearsed, like I'm doing right now, just to rehearse. By the way, welcome. If you are just joining in, you're in my living room. Really glad to have you. I am rehearsing handpans because I've got a performance tomorrow afternoon, and I just went through a couple of pieces there. The first piece was with 3 handpans, and then with the happy handpan, and then the more serious handpan. So those felt good. Let me rehearse now a really fun song. This one is, it seems, I don't know, maybe you can tell me in the comments, but it sounds oriental, it sounds Arabic, it sounds from the Middle East. I've actually played it to my Iraqi friends who live in Phoenix here, and they've confirmed, and Syrian friends, and they've confirmed that it sounds like the music from their country. This is a hung from Pan Art. It's significantly more, or I guess higher pitched than newer and other handpans. This is a first generation hung that was made between 2000 and 2004. And I was able to acquire it in the early days of handpans, before the word handpan was even coined. But this is a really fun instrument. It's a little smaller, the collar is a little bit different, and it's higher pitched. And so what I wanted to rehearse is, it's a track, it's a piece, a composition called Stranded in Istanbul. And it comes from a true story. As you guys may know, I am from France. I grew up in Lyon, France, in the southeast of France, and then I moved to Grenoble, called Grenoble in English, and that's where I met my wife, Jill, who was doing a study abroad program there. And we met at our church there, and anyways, long story short, I fell in love with Jill right away, but how do people start a relationship across continents, right? And so I lived in the old continent, and Jill lived in the new world, right? Europe and the Americas. And so we dated long distance for a few years, and then came my big move to the United States, right? And I was supposed to fly from Paris to Chicago, and then to Minneapolis, which is where Jill's from. And my plane in Paris got hit by lightning, and so we could no longer take off, and we were stranded. So it started with being stranded in Paris, but then essentially we were going to be stranded in Paris for a while, so I found a way to get to the United States by actually going east first before going west. And so the next day I flew from Paris to Istanbul, but then I was stranded in Istanbul again for a couple of days. And so that's where I had never been to Turkey. I had never been to Istanbul before, and that's the only time I've been when I was stranded. But it kind of provided that feel, that ambiance, and that led into writing this song. So if you're joining, you're in my living room. I'm Sylvain. Probably we know each other. I don't know how Facebook Live distributes this video. If we don't, it's great to meet you. I am rehearsing on the handpan, the incredible handpan, just an amazing instrument of the 21st century. And this next piece that I want to rehearse is called Stranded in Istanbul. True story. Stranded in Istanbul, that's the piece. Shorter version, I feel pretty good about this track as well. If you're just joining, I am rehearsing handpans for a show that I have tomorrow afternoon. If you're a local, if you live in the Phoenix metro area, on Saturday afternoon from 2 to 3 p.m. I am playing at the Queen Creek Public Library from 2 to 3 p.m. It's an hour-long show where you're going to get to hear soothing handpan music. Soothing, that depends on whether or not I'm well rehearsed. And that is the goal of this Facebook Live video. This is my first ever. I've never done a Facebook Live. I guess it's a little intimidating. My phone is flipped completely, so I actually can't see any of the comments or the engagement. I have no idea if anyone's watching, but regardless, I needed to rehearse, and so I decided to invite you in. So let's see. I've rehearsed a song on about every instrument except for my newest, which is a Boreal handpan from Joxon Rivera in Quebec. Anyone from Quebec joining in? If you are, post a maple leaf emoji into the comments. This is my latest, newest instrument. I've had it for a little over a year, and I absolutely love it. And I will perform tomorrow a couple of songs on this one, a couple of compositions. So I'm working off of my set list here from a previous show, and the AC is back on, so if you hear a hum, that's where it's coming from. And let me check. Okay, it's 5:50. 4:56 Arizona time. Alright, and I guess I'm going to play Kind of a running theme in this Facebook Live video and in my life as a musician is that I am so bad at naming compositions. I'd like to think that I'm decent at composing music, and I certainly love it, especially on the handpan. But I'm having trouble naming some of these pieces. So if you've got a song, if you've got a name for this track, please let me know. Like, really, if it's good, I will use it in my next album. Okay, so as again, one more time, if you're joining in, I'm in my living room. This is just you and me. The cat is now upstairs. I am rehearsing for a gig tomorrow, and I thought I would invite you in. This is probably going to be the last piece that I rehearse on this Facebook Live, and it is on a Boreal handpan from Jackson Rivera in Montreal, Canada. And that's it. Thank you for joining this Facebook Live. I am not quite ready, but I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching, and keep listening to handpan music. Cheers.